I was watching a video clip this morning from Michael Siebel, who runs Y Combinator, I believe. A black man who actually runs Y Combinator, which is one of the largest incubators that are out there, tech incubators that are out there. And he was talking about how he says that most people who are going that route in tech, in terms of wanting to raise a whole bunch of capital and get investors and backers, that type of thing, he recommends that those individuals, who may be non-technical, that they find a CTO, or a chief technology officer. They find a technical co-founder to bring onto the team, right? Now, he laid out the pros and cons of that, but what are your thoughts on that in terms of trying to, I guess, outsource development to a third party, I guess, company versus finding a partner that's technical enabled versus, I guess, a third option would be you learning how to code yourself. Like, how do you make the difference between those three in terms of the recommendations you give your clients?
Yeah, so it really depends on, how hands-on you want to be and how savvy you are. There are some people who, tech, building and coding, it's just not for them, right? Like maybe they are very right brain, maybe they're super creative, and maybe they don't feel as analytical, or, maybe they don't feel like they have the skill sets, or maybe there really is a mental block there where they feel like they can't code. And so, so oftentimes people are just busy. Like, let's remove the whole mental block thing. Sometimes people are sincerely busy. I mean, you're a doctor, a lawyer, like some of my participants are in the program. You have very, very little time, but you might have brilliant ideas, but very little time to learn these new skill sets and to take on new classes and workshops and things like that. So that could be a challenge for a lot of people. Like I said, I never discourage people from learning how to code, but you have to think about it in context, and you have to think about, this is a time commitment if you're actually going to make this work. In regards to the former two, I think there are a few different things that you consider. One, finding a good co-founder takes a while. It does, really, because you got to think about a co-founder in the confines of, this is your business partner. This is your business spouse, right? They are going to be with you through everything, and you're giving up a considerable portion of your company for that. I think co-founders are great. I have several co-founders, and honestly, we share the workload in so many different capacities. But I very, very much lucked up in having great, reliable co-founders. In the past, I've had not so great, reliable co-founders. I've had people bail on me, just ghost me outright, when we're in the midst of building this big company together. And so, you have to realize it can be a very fragile relationship, just like any other relationship. So that's something to think about, and finding that person who's the great complement to your skill set and who is actually passionate about the project takes a while. I strongly encourage people to outsource their projects, and I do this because a number of different reasons. What I've noticed from a lot of aspiring founders is a lot of them believe that their idea is so great that they're going to get funding ahead of building the product. And that may be true. Maybe you have a network of high net worth individuals who are going to fund you. Maybe you have access to investors who just believe in you so strongly that they would invest without a product. But for most people, that is not the case. Most investors want to see traction, especially if you're pitching to venture capitalists. They're going to want to see the potential for 10x returns. And if you don't actually have a product yet, you don't have customers, you're not making revenue, it's going to be very hard for you to prove that. I think the second case for outsourcing is the fact that you actually, want to have some degree of owner. Well, not some degree, is you want to have total ownership over your product. And I think it is better to start building like an MVP or a minimum viable product, the leanest version of your product available, just a tester product that can prove your theory right, and to actually have something up and running, so that one, you can prove to your co-founder that you're serious, right? That you're very serious about that idea, and that you've taken steps or strides. You just need them to kind of help you on the path. And then secondly, if you are thinking about raising, that you have an actual product that you could prove has some traction and is worthwhile. So what I was just saying is that, a lot of people kind of debate whether they should do non-tech, they should get a co-founder or whether they should outsource. I strongly encourage people to outsource, and I say this because it takes a while to find a co-founder, especially a reliable one. It's better to kind of just bet on yourself, because not only if you do continue to look for a co-founder, your co-founder will take you seriously, your investors will take you seriously, because now you actually have a product. You were willing to invest in yourself first before anyone else was, and you actually may have a product that starts to have traction, and that's something an investor is going to be looking for if you're going to start raising capital.